It makes everything so much lighter when you are not attached to that materialistic things. I'm always surprised by the people that I meet. I think there hasn't been a single country where I've been where I made this unique connection. My first long stay was in China, and the culture is so different, and it got me really upset. Like, I didn't have my personal space. I was completely out of my comfort zone, and I had to learn.
Jasmin, it is wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. So tell us in your own words, please, explain where you are in the world right now and what you currently do.
Thank you for having me. I am originally from Germany, and I'm now in Malaysia. Next week going to Japan because I'm traveling as a digital nomad. And I used to be a worker in IT back in Germany, and I'm now a coach for remote worker to support them with their career growth.
So what kind of people do you work with?
People that ask what's next. They worked already a few years remotely, and then they have the clients, they have the projects, and then they start to figure out, I want a bit more from this. So how can I grow?
And do they tend to be solo entrepreneurs?
It's different. Some of them, they work in a career, like they work in a company, but they are able to work location independently. Some are freelancers, entrepreneurs. So whatever is somehow touched by remote work, there are different ways I help them.
It sounds amazing. And I have to say, I have a slight fantasy of I want to do this. I want to sort of pack up and go traveling the world and continue to do my podcast and all the other things that I do. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions today.
Please do.
Obviously, you travel around the world. Do you have a base, or are you completely digital nomad?
Well, I have a base, and me and my business, we are registered in Germany, and we have to be there a few times in the year. But other than my suitcase, that's all what I have on things. Like, I have nothing back in Germany where I would say, oh, my furniture is waiting. No, it's just my suitcase, me and my partner, who's also traveling with me, so I'm not doing this alone.
When you decided to become a digital nomad, what was your situation? What did you have to do to become a digital nomad who lives with a suitcase?
Take that step, because to be honest, there was not big of a plan. So getting that ticket, figuring out where do I want to stay, and having that 1 month stay, because I started with 1 month, that was it. I didn't know, okay, how is it going to be? Where can I eat? How is this going to work with my then job? Because I was still employed at that time. And I just decided, nah, I'm going to make it work. That's what I did.
And did you have a house and a home previously? And then did you have to get rid of everything in order to do this?
I had an apartment, which was in the family house. So this was basically, I just emptied it. I took care of the things there. And I have been, I've been doing remote work for over 10 years now, because I started back in my studies in Beijing. This is when, after I finished high school, instead of doing this gap year, I went to China, found a job. And so I already didn't have a lot back in Germany. And when I then, now again, after a few years, decided, because there was a lot of back and forth, we can get into detail into that. So this is then I decided it wasn't that difficult for me to let go of those things.
So you've been doing this for 10 years. Where have you been in the world?
Oh, that's a hard question to answer. So mainly in Europe and in Asia. and it's been different kind of remote work. So first I was in Beijing. I was working in the organization, and then it started to be home office. I went back to Germany for a few years. I did the same job still from Germany. Then I decided to go back to Asia, came back to Germany, then had a bit of an office job, home office, Corona happened, all those things. So back and forth, all different kinds of variation there.
And what do you base your decision on as to where you're going to go next?
So my partner, luckily, is very organized, and so he has some ideas about, oh, this is the place I want to see next. Some places he has been before, and he wants to show me. And the same is now, like Japan, we're gonna go next because he really wanted to go. I've been already, and I really want to show him. So whenever we have a feeling there may be something interesting to find out there and to explore, we just go for it.
Sounds good. And how often do you move around?
At the beginning, we were very enthusiastic. So once every month. And we did this for maybe half a year. So we figured out, okay, really changing where we are every month is a bit too much. So it's starting to expand to 2-3 months. Sometimes it depends on the visa we can get.
Your business is registered in Germany. How do you do that? How do you, when you're traveling around the world and you've been doing it for 10 years, how do you register a business? Where do you decide it's going to be registered?
But for me, it was a no-brainer that it's gonna stay in Germany because I grew up in Germany. I have this connection to Germany. If I have any questions or if in the future I wanna settle down again, it's gonna be Germany. So I looked into other places, like some they registered a business in the US or Malaysia is also pretty good, but there were not really benefits for me. So yeah, more like a personal decision.
Yeah. And when it comes to your clients, do they tend to do the same thing?
It's really different. So, well, US mainly they stay in the US, so they have to pay taxes there anyway, wherever they are in the world. But I also had some clients that register, for example, in Thailand. But there you also have different difficulties because you cannot work, for example, as a photographer that easily in Thailand, actually, as a foreigner. So yeah, different struggles, but yeah, mainly it's the US.
And I've heard of digital nomad visas. Is this a real thing? I really hope it is.
It is, and more countries, luckily, they open up to that. So you know those visa runs that people do. You stay up to the point where your visa expires, then you take a day trip or two to a different country close by, and then you come back, re-enter the country, and stay a bit longer. It's a possibility, but it's really exhausting, annoying, and it's just an old habit because people or the world in general was not so prepared for digital nomads.
Mm-hmm. I used to live in Dubai. I lived there for 4 years, and oh my goodness, the visa hops to start with until all your paperwork is done. You know, it takes time, doesn't it? And yes, I can remember getting on a plane, going over to uh, Doha in Qatar, and then coming back to Dubai. You literally just went through the airport, got back on a plane, and came back. It was an insane system, but it did allow time for the paperwork to go through. So yes, interesting visa hops. That's still going on then because that was a long time ago. So it's very much a lifestyle thing, isn't it? When you go to different countries, where do you stay?
Mostly I book Airbnbs. So Airbnb has been really nice. And if you book for an extended time, you also get a discount. So often it's cheaper than booking a place in Germany. And sometimes it's a friend's place. I rarely go to communities or anything, so I like to have my own space that I can control a bit.
Yes. And I really want to know what is in your suitcase, Jasmine?
Oh, really just the essentials. It's my clothes. I have a set of outfits, so if you follow my Instagram, you can see me wearing the same clothes because I do not care on big shopping. The things that I need for work are in my suitcase, so I don't even have a big microphone or good light, as you may can see. And yeah, two pairs of shoes.
Letting go of possessions, letting go of things is a hard thing sometimes for people to do. You've obviously got used to this now. You know, you have a suitcase that you take with you. What is the advantage of being able to let go of stuff, Jasmine?
Oh, it makes everything so much lighter when you are not attached to that materialistic things. So I do have a box of things that are for my grandparents or other relatives where I can't really let go. And I stored that with my sister. So that's I'm fortunate there. But overall, to start, what you can do is put things in a box and hide them. And if you do not touch them in a few months, in a year, you can be certain you don't really need those things. So it's then up for you to decide, are you going to donate them? Are you going to sell them? Maybe friends and family. I did this with a lot of books that I had. I just gave them to friends and family. And whenever I really feel like, oh, I want to read that book, I can ask them when I'm back next time.
Yes, when they come to visit. Can you bring that book back? I love it. I love it. I've been letting go of many, many things, and attachment. It's such a wonderful area to explore as to why we find it difficult to let go of certain material things. And I find it fascinating that as a digital nomad, you know, there's so much enrichment in your life that isn't actually about stuff and acquiring things. So how do clients find you?
They find me online via my website, jasminschubert.com, or on my Instagram. They pop up, and I do go to networking events while I travel because I like to connect with people who live there, expats, for example, or also the locals.
Yeah. It's quite nice, isn't it? Just to sort of go somewhere completely new and just plug into the local community. What have been some of your favorite experiences while you've been traveling?
Oh, that's always a hard question because there's so many nice experiences. I'm always surprised by the people that I meet. I think there hasn't been a single country where I've been where I made this unique connection. Like when we lived in Athens, we had like a bit of a food war going on with the neighbors because they figured we are from abroad. So they gave us some food, just hang it on the door in a plastic bag, and we wanted to return that favor, so we gave them gave the bag back with some of our food, and this went on the whole time we stayed there. So I love those moments when they happen.
That sounds so lovely. So lovely. So you have your website and people can Google and find you. I love this, by the way, Jasmine. You are inspiring me so much. You're making this sound incredibly easy on many levels. Do you ever feel that you want to just stop and settle down? What are the hardest things that come up for you while you're doing this?
So the hardest things at time is of course the connection back with family and friends. If there are big events happening like weddings, you either have to really plan in advance or you cannot attend, and that's sad. So it's really nice. Also the easy meetings when my siblings are meeting and I cannot be there. And the uncertainty is another thing. Like wherever we go, whichever new place, there's sometimes can be very stressful. Like next week when we're gonna go to Japan, is everything gonna be alright with the flight, with the transport, with the apartment, or what do we have to expect? We don't know.
So, how do you overcome that? Because obviously, it doesn't stop you doing it, which is wonderful.
So you learn to trust in yourself when you have to face those uncertainties because you never know what may happen. But you know you survived situations like this before, and whatever may happen and be thrown your way, you have the skills. So problem solving skills to help, stay calm, just take it as it comes. Like with our hiccups, finally meeting. So yeah, it happens. You can be upset about it and lose your nerves, or you just take it as what it is.
I love that. You sound so calm. It's wonderful. I've got to ask, have you turned up in a new country, a new place, and had something go really wrong?
The biggest challenge is insects. So when you enter a place and it's not very clean, you have those cockroaches, so those nightmares that you hear, like lizards. By now I'm fine with lizards, but at the beginning it was like suddenly just something crawling at the wall, making you freak out, and you have the place is not as advertised. Basically, the worst that can happen because it's noisy, you cannot sleep, the light is weird, the furniture is not really working, everything is kind of falling apart, like the bathroom. That is very challenging.
What do you do when that happens?
First, you're upset. This is what happens to me first. You get upset. You're like, oh no, this cannot be happening, because it's a bit mean, right? If somebody doesn't communicate clearly what you can expect. And then you try to make do with what you have, figuring out, okay, first the communication, letting the host know this is not working out, what can we do? And often they're very friendly when you ask them nicely to help you fix the furniture, and whatever you cannot fix, you have to find a word around it. Like if you can't do your laundry, find a laundromat around the corner and try to survive.
It's just an adventure, right? It's a series of, if there's a problem, you solve it.
Exactly, and you grow. That's it.
What kind of person do you need to be to do this?
I feel like any person can do it. It's just sometimes it's easier if you are this patient, if you are aware of your emotions, and because you get, even I get upset, I get angry at people, but if you're able to realize that and take your moment and then go back to solving issues instead of just complaining, it's so much easier. I guess you can also do it while constantly complaining and being upset, but it's not a really nice experience, I get.
Yeah. I imagine that having a real understanding of yourself and how you react to situations must be quite a big learning curve to start with.
Exactly.
You are a pro now and you coach and you help others do the same. But what were the biggest challenges when you first started doing this?
Getting to know yourself, actually, because I wasn't aware that I'm gonna miss my family so much. I thought I'm gonna be fine. Um, my first long stay was in China, and the culture is so different, and it got me really upset. Like, I didn't have my personal space, I was completely out of my comfort zone, and I had to learn how to set boundaries and what gives me energy, and actively seeking those things in order to keep going and not just being on the floor and being upset.
How did you get to know yourself?
A lot of reflection and awareness. It took a lot of time. I didn't wake up one day and was totally fine with everything. I wish. No,
It'd be
it took
great if we could just do that, wouldn't it?
right? So much easier. No, it's a bit like when you're a teenager and you think, as soon as I'm a grown up, I have my life figured out. Like that switch is gonna turn, and it doesn't happen. It was the same with that. So I was doing it again, adapting, learning from others. That helped a lot. Like, how are other people handling this? And when I was a student in the Chinese university, there were a lot of other foreigners, so we learned and grew together. That was quite helpful. And yeah, just don't give up. And some days you just have to accept, no, it's not working today. Do something that helps yourself, and relax. It's gonna be fine.
And did you meet your partner while you were traveling?
We actually did meet in China, but there was nearly 15 years ago, and then our ways lost again. Like he went to study somewhere else. I went to America, then to Europe, and we met again a few years ago, actually 4 years ago.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. In the beginning, when you were going through this process of really, having so many new experiences and learning so much about yourself, what stopped you from going, oh, I just want to go home? What kept you going?
Friends helped me. I'm a very social person, so whenever I really felt down, I actively seeked out my friends, trying to get a meet together, vent a bit. Reading and playing video games also helped me. So I knew, okay, those are the things that give me comfort. So I seek those out. And yeah, this is how you recover, how you replenish your energy, and then it's easier to go out there and be like, well, I can't change the world. Also having this awareness, right? I can't change the external world around me, but I can change what's going on inside of me.
Do you think you'll ever settle in one place, or is it forever?
That's such a good question. Like whenever I think about it, like most likely Germany, I start to think, but it's not so warm there, and there are so many places that I want to see. So I don't know. Maybe one day, but at the moment, I cannot see that.
I just love it. I just think why not? The world today, we are so well connected, aren't we? And they say the world is a smaller place now because it's just so easy to get everywhere. What places would you really like to go to next?
Next, there are a few more places in the Balkans and Europe that I would love to see. And then also South America. I haven't been there yet, so that could be interesting.
Do you have a list? Do you do you have sort of like a list of places I'd like to go and just, I mean, you've ticked off an awful lot in the last 10 years, but yeah, how do you research what you would like to do next?
So I decide the next place we're gonna see based on also the possibility of transport. It's, if you have a bit of environmental awareness, it's easier and better for the environment if you take like one long flight and then try to go by bus or ferry or whatever is available. So having that one starting point, and then we went from Philippines, Vietnam, hopping a bit and trying to keep it short. So, Thessaloniki, for example, in Greece has a really good bus connection. We didn't know that before, but it was perfect for the rest of the journey. And yeah, then we kind of look on the map. Sometimes friends tell us about places, like you start to hear certain things from other travelers, like, oh, have you been here and there? Did you try that? And we look it up and then we decide if we would like to try that.
And when you go to different places, do you tend to stay in cities, or are you a little more remote, being remote?
Mainly in cities, especially when we go somewhere the first time around, because it's easier to get help in the city. It's easier to find the things you need, like supermarkets. We went, for example, the first time to Vietnam, to Hanoi, which was really nice. Everything we needed. Other tourists been there. And then we also took a bit of a longer weekend trip to the village. And that was really a village. So there was like 1-2 stores every now and then, and that's it. So, and I think if you stay there from the very beginning, that can be a bigger challenge.
Yeah, so much to see, so much to see. I love it. Obviously, you're coaching, you're helping other people. This is your income. What would you say your work life exploring adventure balance is?
I think it's quite good. I like to really think that because I have this flexibility, unless I have calls with clients, that I can go out and explore. I have my weekend and exploring days in the week to avoid the weekend rush. And So that works quite nicely for me, and it's rather flexible. So I enjoy that.
I don't think I've ever asked so many questions in succession. Your English is amazing, Jasmin. I just want to compliment you on that as well. In terms of your clients, when they find you via the website, what do your clients mainly come to you to solve?
About how figuring out to do digital nomad lifestyle, and now I'm also looking more to work together with people that are already established and they want to grow further. I have a background in business psychology, so I really much enjoy to help people align their values with the work that they do and to create the career that they like to establish.
You mentioned there the digital nomad lifestyle. What is the digital nomad lifestyle?
That is a very good question, because digital nomad lifestyle is not one thing. So if I had to narrow it down, it's the ability to work wherever you want, because your work is basically just on your computer. You just need the technology. And then it's what you make out of it. Do you want to work only in Asia? Do you want to, have your place somewhere and, keep it slow? Do you want to join a community? Digital nomad retreats exist, and there are retreats as well where you have this, you work hard, you party hard lifestyle, or you can have pretty much a normal life, like, visiting some countries, some other cities as you go, and like back at home where you grew up, maybe explore the weekend, and the rest of the week you're just at home.
It's very tempting. The communities, you've mentioned this a couple of times, the digital nomad communities. Can you tell us more about those?
So I haven't done those myself. I just know people. So it's basically you rent a house together, you meet up with other digital nomads, and book a place for a period of time, work together, get to know each other, then maybe continue to travel it together or go back. And there are also big ones hosted where they book out a massive big place and a lot of people come. There are also events maybe happening, and yeah, by the end of the day maybe smaller groups come up or not, and that's basically it. It's a bit more organized, I guess.
I'm very excited by this proposition, as you can tell. It's been on my sort of list of things. I'm 54 years old. You are considerably younger. How old are you, Jasmin?
32, turning 33 in a few weeks.
Oh, wonderful age, wonderful age. Is there an average age? Are people of all ages doing this?
Everyone can do it. Our neighbors here in Malaysia, they're an elderly couple. They sold all their things back in America and started traveling. And every few months they're somewhere else. They just said, "Oh no, that's it. That's our retirement now." Wow, that's brave. And then there are the young ones that fresh out of university, starting their own thing, or having a remote job and having that flexibility to travel. All ages.
You must have quite a network of friends all over the world. Do you tend to keep in touch with people as you've moved on? Because every time you move, you make new friends, right?
Yeah. The network, it works. Like now with technology, it's just a click away. Instagram really helps. So my private Instagram, I connect with all of them. You keep seeing what they are doing, where they're traveling. And it does happen that when I have a friend in Osaka, I didn't even know she was in Osaka. She used to work in Dubai. And so now we connected over Instagram. Like, oh, I'm going to be there. You want to meet up? And it's easier, I think, because when you travel and meet other people that also travel, we have that understanding that you don't have to stay in contact every day to have that connection.
So, Jasmine, if someone is thinking about becoming a digital nomad, what are the key things they need to consider to start with?
If you were thinking about starting to become a digital nomad, try to be aware of what and why do you want it. So, do you want to just follow the Instagram influencer and have that same lifestyle, but it doesn't actually align with what you want? Then you may have a hard time when you're actually in, I don't know, Bali, and it's very noisy, a lot of tourists, and you can't keep going. So have a clear vision of what that means for you, what you would like, and then try it out. So make those small steps. You don't have to sell your house right away. You can do that, but you can also do it, live a month in a different country, just the country next door. It doesn't have to be on a different continent if that's for you. I would always suggest you to try to find a network even before you arrive. So there are Facebook groups, all kinds of social media where you can already connect with people and ask questions. And I would say if you reach out to someone and ask, this is the country I'm thinking about going, can somebody just have a quick chat with me? We would be happy to do that. So do your research, try to find your support, and then don't overthink it.
And what services do you offer?
So I do help, or I like to offer, especially if you want to start with the digital nomad life, help you figure out those, like have this awareness, your values. Why do you want to do this? Is it because you wanted it, or is your friend doing it and you really like that idea? So getting the clarity, getting the awareness of your strengths. So what skills, what do you bring to the table, and how can you make that work for you? Like, do you have a remote job already? Are you still looking for a remote job? What does that mean for you? Like, entrepreneur, freelancer, just find a job, take a break. So we figure that out together and we create that roadmap to have some action steps for you to grow into becoming a digital nomad.
When it comes to income sources, what are the main things that people that you work with tend to do?
Freelancing a lot, so web design. I also work with social media managers, and some have already experienced previously. So they actually
Mhm.
worked for a company and then they decide they take it freelance and do it by themselves.
So, Jasmine, why do you do this?
Good that you ask. So for me, it took me a bit to find my way, to figure out I don't want to be the CEO of the family business. It doesn't align with my values and my goals for my future. And I thought I could never realize that. So luckily for me, the stars aligned. I started questioning myself. I got into coaching, and I turned my life around at my late 20s. And now it's just a question of who else can I help? Who can I shake a bit? Who can I support, hold accountable, and give that support to in whatever age you are, whatever your next step may be, that you don't have to do that alone. I love doing that.
People evolve anyway
Mhm.
over a period of 10 years. What would you say are the biggest transitions you've experienced during that time?
The shift in confidence. It's just really when you, like, it can be such a relief to let go of external expectations. And those expectations doesn't have to be your parents who want you to become the next doctor or lawyer. Those can be very sneaky, and there can be a lot of blind spots that you're not even aware of. And when you realize that, and when you are capable of letting go, the shift that happens is, and it's still happening for me, it's still happening because I still realized some patterns from back in the day, and it's just such a joy.
So, when you go to Japan, you're going to be starting again. I mean, you are the ultimate person in start over and rise, really, because every time you move somewhere, You're starting over, obviously from a place of experience and self-knowledge, but you're starting over each time. You mentioned trust, but the biggest things about yourself that allow you to keep going with this.
Well, I'm highly adaptable. like, yeah. So whenever there is something, it's, yeah, negative feelings do come up, but it's about, okay, you know what, I can make that work too. So having this annoying optimism also helps. Yeah, have the joy and the curiosity to do it makes things easier.
Curiosity, that's such a wonderful word. And as a coach, we're curious anyway, aren't we? But to be
Yeah.
curious about environments and new experiences as well. That when you feel fear, when you know there's uncertainty coming up, how do you reframe it?
First, when uncertainty is coming up, sometimes it takes me a moment to realize that I often attention builds up. So I can already feel from next week having to go to Japan or being able to go to Japan that there is a certain I don't know how to explain it, but a bit of chaos inside you. You're less calm, and to be able, when you know yourself, to put the finger on it and say, "Oh, that's it. That's why." Then you start to look at it. What is this trying to tell me? So you reframe it, and I'm nervous. Why? Because I'm gonna forget something. I didn't even start packing something. So what can I forget? And just making sure, okay, when I do pack, really ensure everything is in the suitcase, check my emails if the airline sent me a message, and yeah, just taking those little voices that come up and that try to make you go crazy and ask, what do you want to actually tell me here?
So, what is the absolute best thing you love about this lifestyle that you live now?
The flexibility and the surprises, so that you can't even, like, when there's uncertainty, there's also the positive uncertainty in terms of you never know what to expect, and that can be scary, or it can be, ooh, I don't know what's coming next. So what food, like, I'm still learning about fruits. So when I go to the supermarket, suddenly there's a fruit I've never seen, like a winter melon. It's something that I just recently explored like 1 2 months ago, and yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. There's just so many things, isn't there, that are there out there just to be and unexpected things. You're right in terms of like as you travel around the world, there are different foods and flavors and people and all sorts of different things. So if someone was deciding that they would like to do this, want to connect with other people that are doing this, obviously you would be a great starting point for them.
So you can, there by now there are also books about how to be a digital nomad. Yeah, Facebook is still the simplest way to find your communities, to go an expat or digital nomad in whatever country or global. You don't even have to say a country. You can just go in the global community, ask your questions, read a bit along what other people are sharing and saying, and you start to get a feeling. And then it's about, what are you making with that information? Maybe somebody's talking about Italy and the amazing food, so you start to think, Italy, and then you go to the next group, digital nomads in Italy.
And I imagine you must be Google queen. I mean, when it comes to finding out about visas and the law and business aspects and so on. Is that true? Are you a complete Google queen here? Is that the number one place to go to when you start to figure out where you're going next?
Yeah, go where you're comfortable, because, for example, in Japan, the public transport is something you have to study. It's not that easy. So you start with Google, and pretty soon you're gonna find somebody talking about it, and then Google Translator is your friend when you go to the Japanese websites and you figure out the bus systems and what you have to be aware of, what ticket to buy. It's about asking the right questions.
Yeah, definitely. And what would be your top 5 questions that you put into Google when you're going to a new country?
I start very easy. Top things to do in Kyoto, where I'm gonna go next, and then I start reading. Like TripAdvisor is gonna be the first one popping up there, and yeah, then you read a bit along, and then you hear about the place, and then maybe I start thinking, I don't want to do all the touristy place. I don't want to just be in a room full of people. So I try to find the hidden spots in Kyoto and what are locals saying in Kyoto, and then you go down that rabbit hole and explore what you want to see.
Yeah, how do you manage your post and things like that?
So my post in Germany is digital. So luckily there's this service that they scan it, they keep it for you, and they send you a bigger package. But yeah, you can check your emails basically or your little software, and then you can read your messages. And luckily, even in Germany, we start to go digital. We make a joke of this because we're so slow with that. But yeah, even with the taxes, I can do everything online.
We do live in a very different world now, don't we? That this is just
Very
totally
much.
possible. What would be your final words to wrap today up that maybe would help encourage someone who is on the tipping point of wanting to dive into this lifestyle?
You are braver than you think you are, and for certain, you're more capable than you think you are. So your brain likes to trick you. So go for it.
Jasmin, thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest. I will make sure that I put all your websites and social media links in the show notes so that people can follow you in your adventures. And yeah, you're definitely somebody to go to if they want to start to do this. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.